Good morning. Happy Sunday to you guys. I hope you're having a beautiful day. If you have clicked onto this, I'm sure that this is for you. Something led you to click onto it, so I hope you take the time to listen to it. I've only got 3 Bible verses here, but I'm going to tear them down. If you're not into the Jesus, if you're not into the Bible, if you're not into religion, this is for you. Okay, this is specifically for people that struggle with religion and struggle with the Bible and don't believe, or if they do believe, they don't want any part of it. This is for you, okay? I'm going to ask you a couple of questions first, and then I'm going to dig in. Have you ever known a narcissist? Have you ever known somebody that is egotistical or self-centered or prideful? Have you ever been in a relationship with somebody like that, known somebody like that, been around somebody like that, I don't even need to describe to you or pull out verses or even give you a definition of what a narcissist is, or an egotistical person is, or a prideful person is, because we've all dealt with them. And it's a horror story when we deal with them. I think we can all agree on that. So if you're watching this, and this is the first part of it, if you've ever been around a person like that, if you've ever been in a relationship with a person like that, if you've ever known a person like that, say yeah. Say yeah. Because this is the second part. And this is the part that I hate it, but it's the reality of it. And so don't shut me off, because I think you need to hear this. We are all, to some degree, you and me and everybody walking this earth, we are all, to some degree, prideful. We are all, to some degree, narcissistic and egotistical and self-centered and self-focused. We are all wired like that. We all want what we want, how we want it. We all want to try to convince other people that our way is the best way. We all look at other people with judgment and go, did you see that? Or, oh, did you see that? Every single one of us, if you're watching this, you cannot tell me that you have not looked at another person, place, situation, or thing and had some sort of a judgment or thought about that. You cannot tell me that you've ever been in a relationship and you have spent an extensive amount of time trying to get the other person to change their ways and do it your way. And I know that a lot of us are going to sit there and go, yeah, well, my way was the right way. My way is the right, their way is totally wrong. Okay, and I'm not saying that that's not true. I get that. But what does the Bible say about pride, which we all have and we all walk forward with? We all see it so clearly in everybody else. God, it is so prideful. Ugh. Total narcissist. This guy's a total narcissist. We all see it so clearly in everybody else. The hardest thing about pride and ego and self is that we see it so clearly in everybody else. Yet we very, very, very rarely see it in our own selves, because we're spending so much time seeing it in other people. And what does the Bible say about it? Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to be like the people that I'm pointing my finger at and judging for. I don't want to be prideful. I don't want to be narcissistic. I don't want to be self-centered and want to control everything around me. And if people aren't doing it my way, then they're wrong. I don't want to be like that, because I don't like that quality in other people. But I am like that. And you're like that. And we're all like that. That's why we need Jesus, okay? 3 things. I'm going to go in. I'm going to tear them down from the Bible so I can break this down. First one is this. Scripture says this. This is James chapter 4, verse 6, and it says this. But God opposes the proud, but shows favor to the humble. He opposes the proud, and he shows favor to the humble. God opposes the proud. You know what that means? Not only is he not going to be involved in that, he's going to be against it. So if there is any part of you that is, let me give you all the verses, and then I'm going to break them down, okay? Number 1, God opposes the proud. It's not only that he's there, but he's not going to answer any prayers that come from a place of pride. He's not even going to mess with it, and he opposes it. He's working against it, because he's not going to validate anything that comes from a place of pride or ego or self. It's not how God operates. He operates out of love and grace. and mercy. There's another Bible verse I just read this morning saying, you guys got it all wrong. I'm not looking for sacrifice. I'm not looking for you to be better than anybody else. I'm looking for mercy. Mercy. Show mercy to other people. Don't judge them. Call them narcissists. Call them prideful. Call them egotistical while you yourself, next verse, Matthew chapter 7, verse 5. I know this is hard to hear. I know this is hard to hear, you guys, but we spend a lot of time looking at everybody else and everything else and all the situations and all of the people, and if only they would, this would be good, and if only they would, that would be good, and if only this would be different, that would be good. And we need to take all that time and energy and focus on our own walk, our own selves. And we know how hard that is. If you know how hard it is to change something about yourself that is kind of ugly and kind of dark and kind of self-centered, and if you know how hard it is to change it about yourself, how can you possibly think that you're going to change another, or that another is going to change easily? Matthew chapter 7 verse 5 says this, you hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck out of your brother's eye. Let me break that down for you. What's that saying? Jesus is saying this. You yourself are so full of sin, which we all are, okay? None of us are perfect. That's why we need Jesus. We're all so full of bad thoughts, bad actions, bad reactions, selfish ways, prideful ways. We all are. And if you don't think you are, you're at the top of the list of pride and narcissism. When you yourself are sitting there thinking that you don't do that at all, you don't have any of those qualities at all, you might want to check yourself. You might want to get in there and ask yourself some questions, some real deep questions, because we're all like that. God says this, take the plank out of your eye so you can see clearly to remove the speck out of your brother's eye. This is how God looks at it. You're being such a hypocrite. You got a giant log in your eye. So number one, you're not seeing clearly what's going on with the person across from you. You don't know their hurts. You don't know their scars. You don't know their pain. You don't know their whys. You don't know what's going on in their head and what's going on in their heart. So you got a big old plank of hypocrisy and imperfections and pride and ego and self in your eye, yet you're trying to remove the speck out of your brother's. Worry about your own self. Worry about your own self. Clean up your own self. Get right with your own self. So then you can see clearly how to help your brother get right. Last Bible verse, and I know these are hard truths, man. These are hard to hear. We want to put the blame for our darknesses and for our bad life and for our repetition and for our sad relationships and for our troubles. We want to put the blame on other people so badly, because we can't fix it ourselves. Can't possibly be us. It's got to be that person. It's got to be him. It's got to be her. It's got to be that job. We want to put it on people so badly, but the truth of the matter is, the way that you are going to fix and heal and control your life and get it to a place of peace and love and strength and mercy and discernment is taking the log out of your own eye. Not worrying about the speck in your brother's. Last Bible verse, 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8 says this. Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers a multitude of sins. Okay, this is the part that is the hardest part, because if you're not into religion, you're not into Jesus, you don't believe it, or you don't agree with it, or you don't want no part of it, you're going to have a real hard time with this, because I don't know about you, but it's hard for me sometimes to love the lovable people in my life. It's the truth. I'm just being honest. How hard is it then to love the unlovable people in my life? And what makes anybody less lovable? We're all human. We're all scarred. We're all imperfect. We're all trying to walk through this thing called life to the best of our ability. We all want love. We all want peace. We all want joy. We all want acceptance. We all want wisdom. We all want to walk forth with all of that, and we expect it out of other people. I expect loyalty. I expect faithfulness. I expect love. I expect mercy for when I screw up, and grace. I expect kindness. I expect understanding out of other people. The reason why you want all of that is because you were created in the image of Jesus Christ, who is all of that. Unfortunately, we all have deceitful hearts. So we are all sinful, and we are all prideful, and we are all selfish. And religion, I'm going to tell you this real quick. Jesus was opposed to religion. I don't know if you've ever heard it like this before. Jesus was not a religious man. Jesus was a man who came to show what God was, that God was love, that God was mercy, and that people were screwing it up and doing it wrong. Jesus had many conversations with the Pharisees. Pharisees are the big religious leaders back in the day when Jesus was alive. Jesus spent a lot of time calling them hypocrites, brood of vipers. He's like, you sit here, you guys instill the law on everybody else while you yourself break it. You guys are writing up all of these rules that nobody can keep up with while you yourself break them. Hypocrites. Why would anybody want to be religious? Why would anybody want to do that when all they're doing is made to feel bad, made to feel guilty, and made to feel worthless, and nobody can do it? Those were Jesus's words to the religious leaders. So if you want to get to something that is above you, if you want to not be a hypocrite your own self, not be prideful your own self, not be narcissistic your own self, you have got to go to something that is higher than you. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to change certain things about you, jealous traits about you, addictive parts about you, kind of judgy, hateful parts about you, gossipy parts about you. We all know, you know your darknesses. You know your toxins. You know the parts of you that are kind of ugly. And if you know those things about you, you know how hard they are to change. You know very well all of the dark and ugly parts and the toxic parts and the repetitive parts about the people around you, and you expect them to change. But if you know how hard it is to change your own self, you can understand how hard it is for them to change too. It's why it is so important, you guys, when God says love covers a multitude of sins. Love covers it. More judgment is not going to cover it. More expectations is not going to cover it. More ugly is not going to cover it. Love covers it. And we are not wired. We are built in the image of Christ, yet so full of so much darkness our own selves. And it is why it is so important to invite God in. It's the beginning. It's the beginning stages of having that peace and having that joy and having that strength and having that discernment, having all of the stuff that we keep going to other people for. We want it out of them because we think it's going to give us peace. I promise you, if you go to God and you just say, Lord, I want you, okay? I believe that religion is awful. I've never wanted any part of religion. I don't believe in it. I don't like it. Well, you're just like Jesus then, because he didn't like religion. He said, I'm not looking for all these sacrifices. I'm not looking for all these rules. What I'm looking for is for you to talk to me and invite me in so I can show you how to love everybody. And that love will cover your sins and everybody else's. And it's a slow process, you guys. It is a slow process. And the last part of this is this. The reason why we need Jesus so bad is this. You can't do it on your own. You can't compromise and bend and give and love and show grace and show mercy. You can't do that on your own. You can't. You will get tired. You will get resentful. You can do it for a few weeks and be like, look at me, I'm loving everybody. After a couple of weeks, people are not going to be giving it back to you the way you're giving it to them. People are not going to change even though you've changed. And that is going to start wearing on you. If you've ever tried to change to love more on your own, it's exhausting. But you invite God in. You invite God into your heart and you go, change me. Search me. I am the problem. Okay, all those other people, I'm not saying that they're not problems, okay? Everybody's got stuff to work on. But I'm saying if you want to take control of your life, if you want to bring peace into your life, if you want to be around people that respect and honor and love and cherish you, you got to bring God in there first. You've got to bring God in there first. He will teach you how to uphold your boundaries with discernment. He will teach you how to let go of some things that you've been carrying, trying to claim them as just who I am and I'm worth it and you don't understand what I've been through. He'll weed in all of the darknesses in you, and he'll get through to you. But you got to stop looking at everybody else. All those narcissists that you know, all those egotistical people that you know, all those prideful people that you know, you got to stop and realize that you are one of them too. We all want what we want, how we want it. And if love is what covers all of that, then you got to learn how to love from something higher than your own standards. People don't love the way you love. People don't feel how you feel. They don't assume what you assume. They don't see what you see. They don't need what you need. So your way cannot be the only way. You got to have something higher. Jesus is the way, and Jesus is love, and he is strength, and he is peace, and he walks through with the rules of love everybody and come to me for that love first. You come to me for that love first, I'm going to give it to you. He's going to give you discernment. Love does not mean be a doormat. Bend to everybody, compromise, give, do all the things to be loved. That's not, does not mean be a doormat. Love means go to God, figure out what is for you and what is not for you, what parts got to go of you and what parts can stay, where he wants to lead you, where he's going to guide you, where he's going to give you strength. We can't do it on our own. And I know that this was all over the place, but I think so many of us spend so much time putting our power in other people's hands, getting so and then wanting to call these people narcissists and egotistical and self-centered and prideful and call them all these names. And that's why I can't have anything because of this person. And that's why it won't go because of that person. We put so much of our power in these other people's hands when really we're not that different from them. We're not that different from them. We all have darknesses. We all have scars. We all have pride. We all have self. We all have ego that we need to bust through. And the only way to do that is with God. I hope that made sense. I really do. I was saying it in my head and it came out a lot harder. Like, you're a hypocrite and you're a narcissist and you're full of pride and you're wanting everybody else to bend, but you're not bending your own self. What makes your way any higher than anybody else's? It's like we're being exactly like those hypocritical Pharisees that Jesus was pointing his finger at. And if we don't want to be like the things that we despise, we have to learn ourselves to heal ourselves, to take the log out of our eye so we can unlove and just pull out lovingly and gracefully and mercifully and discerningly the speck in our brothers. Love is the way. And you can't do it. We can't do it on our own. We were created in the image of Christ. And the only way to walk with that true love for others where we're not being judgy and we're not being hypocritical and we're not being selfish, like, if they would change, then it would be good. That sounds like a kind of a selfish stance. And I'm not saying that what you're wanting is not right. What I'm saying is if you bring Jesus into it, he's going to help you decipher what is right and what is wrong, what is for you and what is for not, who is for you and who is for not. This is one thing this is the final, because I think a lot of people pray like this. I'm going to write the story, God. I'm going to write my story. I want this and I want this and I need this and I want this. And that's how I know my life is going to be perfect. And then I'm going to pray to God to come down and bless all the parts. And God's going to bless the parts that he wants. And maybe he just won't bless the parts that he doesn't want. Prayer is not work like that. And God does not work like that. You got to get your brain around this. God has written the story. God is writing your story. You don't get to write it and then ask him to come down and bless what you have written. He has written it already, and your job is to pray to him to go, get me on board with what you got going on. Help me see what you got going on. Help me believe in what you got going on. Help me love what you got going on. Help me change the parts of me that are holding me up from what you got going on. So many of us, we got prayer tripped up. We see it like it's a magic genie, and we see it like, well, God, how come God blessed them? Well, God already wrote the story. He wrote the story. And your job is not to try to change the story. Your job is not to try to get blessings like a magic genie. Your job is to go, God, I want in. I'm a mess. I myself am a hypocrite. I myself get prideful and nasty and want things the way I want them. I myself judge other people and am expectant from other people. I myself am weak. It's about you searching you. You want a beautiful life. You want a strong life. You want a glorious life. You want a life that no matter what your circumstances, because we're all going to face trouble, no matter what circumstances you're facing, you got something in there that calms you and tells you, you don't need to control that. You don't need to manipulate that. You don't need to fight for that. You don't need to argue about that. I got that. What you need to do is you need to be still with me. You need to be still with me. When you're still with me, you gain so much strength, so much peace, so much joy, so much discernment. So where you stop fighting battles that aren't meant for you. You stop judging other people. You stop looking to other people for your peace and your joy and your happiness. And you start going to the source that has it. And if you've never done it and you got some ugly opinion, or you think it's all BS, or you think you've tried hard enough, or you've done it before and you didn't, keep trying. Keep trying. But my advice to you is invite God in. Spend time with him every single day. And anytime you find yourself wanting to control or manipulate or judge or have an opinion, remind yourself that that's the epitome of hypocrisy. And if you don't like it from other people, you certainly shouldn't want to be it your own self. And the way to rid that is to invite Jesus in. He's not looking for perfection. He knows you're not going to do it perfectly. He's just looking for your humble, honest, open heart so he can get in there and go, I got all this goodness for you. I got all this goodness for you. You don't got to worry about what everybody else has got going on, because I got all this goodness for you. You make God your number one, and it will start ironing out the wrinkles of your life. It'll start putting pieces where they were supposed to go. You will start aligning yourself with people that you're meant to be with and situations that you're meant to be with. And there's still going to be trouble, and there's still going to be hard times, and there's still going to be sadness and death and loss, because that's just never going to change. But in the midst of all of that, you can trust that the person that is writing your story, as long as you're buddied up with them and holding hands with them, you can, it's like whitewater rafting, man. You hold on to Jesus, you got that life jacket on. You can just go with the flow, and even if you go under, and even if you get thrown on a rock, and even if you get back in the water, you can do you can do life like that, scared to death, trying to control, trying to run it, trying to manipulate it, having an opinion and a fear and an idea about all of it. Or you can just jump in and ride it and go, just guide me. Show me where I can love. Show me where I need discernment so I can cut something off and not go that way. Show me where I can help. Show me where I need to change. Use me, change me. Talk to God. Invite him in. Tell him, change me. Use me. Show me. And everything else will trickle down. Hope that made sense. Have a beautiful day. Invite God in every day. You don't get there just by believing. Believing is the first step. Yes, I believe. Those who believe, they're going to see heaven. Cool, that's wonderful. Well, we're not in heaven right now. We're on earth. So if you want your time on earth to be full of joy and peace and strength and discernment and grace and mercy towards other, and non-expectant and non-judgmental and even kind and understanding towards narcissists and all the stuff you want from other people, if you want that for yourself, you can go get it from God. He's just, those who knock, the door will be opened. Those who seek, they will find. Be still and know that I am God. You got to get to know some of these Bible verses. So when you're in the midst of wanting to nut up and wanting to judge somebody and have some words with somebody and manipulate something or control something or worry about something, when you're in one of those mindsets, which are going to come over and over and over throughout the course of your life, you can stop and grab hold of one of God's truths. got to get to know him. Have a beautiful day. Get in your Bible. Get in Psalms. Get in the red letters. I'm in the red letters of Jesus right now, which is in the Gospels. And I'll tell you what, it is bringing some things alive to me just about how awesome Jesus is and how badly you should want him in your corner, because his power is real. And the spirit of him will go inside of you. And then all of the powers that Jesus had, you had. And Jesus is a real dude. And he was a real dude that was full of God's love. So full, he was so connected to it. It's why he did all these awesome things, and we have that, and all you need to do is go looking for it. So I say 15 minutes a day, 5 minutes, get up, put a worship song on. Just even if you're tired, you don't know what's going on, just let the words of that song, let that be the words of your heart to God. 5 minutes in some sort of devotional or Bible app, and 5 minutes praying and listening. Key part, last part, we all pray. Help me, help me, help me, guide me, guide me, guide me. And then we wait for God to give us what we prayed for. And that is not how it works. Prayer is this: help me, show me, show me. And then sitting there quiet long enough with God every day. 5 minutes a day in the morning, and 5 minutes a day in the afternoon. Sitting there long enough, searching yourself and listening for that little nudge of God where he'll go, that's not for you. You know better than that. That's no good. If you've already determined how you want it to go and you're just waiting for God to bless it, you're never going to see the kingdom of heaven. You got to sit there quiet long enough, get it all out, pray for specifics, but wait to hear the voice of God. And it's not an audible voice. Maybe it is for some people. For me, the voice of God is always just a thought of something that I need to do that is inside of my head that I absolutely know does not come from me, because I don't want to do it. It's love, you know. It's always love. It's show mercy and show grace and have some discernment for yourself, so you're not trying to control and you're not trying to manipulate and you're not worried about it and you can't change it. So instead of sitting there in it, crying about it, worrying about it, you give it to God and you stay steadfast in hope and in prayer. And while you're steadfast in hope and in prayer, instead of being in a worry state of mind, you're called to be in a joyful state of mind. Jesus changes everything, but you got to build a relationship with him. It's not rules and it's not a religion. He wasn't even for that. Spend some time, you guys, 15 minutes a day, and invite him in. The second you invite him in, it is a slow, beautiful, loving process. And you're going to know that he's real, because when you hear the voice of God, when you get that nudge, when you get that thought, you're going to know that it's him, because it usually opposes what you want to do. First time God ever spoke to me, he said, what about you? I was all up trying to change all the bad ways of my husband. And I'm not saying that his ways weren't bad. They were. He was making a lot of bad choices, and we were in a real bad season of life. But I was exactly what that Bible verse was. God was all, why don't you come to me and pull that log out of your own eye, because you're not perfect, and you're being cold, and you're not showing grace, and you're not being forgiving. Oh boy, he slapped me real hard with some of his truths that I didn't see because I was so righteous in my own stance. Total hypocrite, narcissist, self-centered, prideful, and we all are. So check yourself. Let everything else be what it is. Get yourself locked and loaded with God, and he will show you, and he will guide you. And not only does he help you in the messes, he rains down so many unbelievable blessings. You think you want what you want. You want to pray for all of these things. Bless, 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 bless them, God. You take your hands off that wheel and you go, you finally just trust and believe that he's got so much more for you. All he's got to do, you just got to wait long enough for him to show up once. When he shows up once, like he has for me, you're going to spend forever just wanting more of it. It's a relationship. Give to God exactly what you want everybody else to give to you. Give him your time. Give him your attention. Give him your loyalty. Give him your faithfulness. Give him your heart first. Trust him and watch how everything changes. And they're still going to have a mess, okay? Still going to be messes. We're all going to be messes. But you can ride out that mess on the whitewater rapids like you're having the time of your life. And you know that there's goodness on the other side of it. And even while you're scared, you're just going to roll, and you're going to trust, and you're going to put your hope in God, and you're going to believe that he's already got a plan. So whatever it's going to be, you're in it. As long as you're holding on to him, you're going to be right where you need to be. But anytime you let go of him, be prepared for chaos. Be prepared for repetition. Be prepared for darkness and toxicity and control and manipulation and anxiety and fear and sadness and depression and worry. Okay, I'm on repeat. You guys have a beautiful day. I hope that made sense. Take care.